Welcome to the Brokers Open podcast. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Ben Spears. Did $8 million in his first year. We talk hustle, open houses, social media strategies, and systems and tools.
So how's it going, Justin? How you doing this morning?
Pretty good. This is day one of Brokers Open podcast.
Brokers Open. How did we come up with the name of that again?
Some guest that we're going to have on in the future came up with an idea. We were like, we're good at stealing things.
Yeah. You blasted it on Facebook and got some ideas from some folks with that, right?
Yeah, and then the feedback from Facebook. Don't ever do that on Facebook. We got the worst ideas on Facebook.
You get a whole bunch of opinions when you do that, right?
Yeah. Matt and I have a good little sphere of influence on Facebook with all of our agents and agents outside of the office, and we got some feedback that was awful.
Right.
What were some of them?
It was a little too accurate, some of it is what I think was so awful about it.
Personal.
Yeah, it was. It seemed like an attack almost. Yeah.
I'm not fond of that.
Yeah. Not me either, but Brokers Open.
Brokers Open podcast. We settled on it. Dr. Ben Spears, our very first guest, which we're ecstatic about having on, texted us and was like, I have the name of your podcast, because we came up with another name that we really liked.
Right.
But then he's like, this is the one.
Yeah. And we have to agree. Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Good stuff. It's like he's got a background with this.
Yeah. That guy sounds really good looking.
Well,
again, when you ask opinions, sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, don't do a Facebook poll on that, for sure.
We may not post the video on this one. We might just do audio for that one.
Yeah, it depends on how it goes. Yeah.
Get a better looking guest on it, too.
Yeah, that's right.
Without Palm Media, this would not be able to happen.
This and so many other things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on Palm Media? We have so much experience with them.
Yeah, so they help so many of my agents in my offices. They help them in your offices. That one of the things, they hit the nail on the head. But we had them come into a meeting, and there was about 31 people in there, and they just talked about the stuff that they do, and the follow-up that happened after that was so indicative of how we think real estate should happen. 31 people in there. Hour and a half later, they talked to everybody, followed up on them so that they knew exactly what it was that they could help them out with. That makes all the difference in the world. We want them to have a relationship, right?
Right. And what Palm Media is really good at, and so Palm Media does a lot of social media advertising for our realtors.
Right.
And what that is a new lead gen system. So instead of sending out postcards or getting on the newspaper, Palm Media has absolutely cornered the market in Facebook and Instagram. And quite really, there's a lot more than that. But what I'm talking about right now is the Facebook and Instagram bit. It's just incredible what they do. And
they actually put the people on display the way that they really are.
Yeah.
So it allows folks to connect with the right person. And that makes all the difference in the world whenever it comes to real estate.
What I like the most about what Palm Media does specifically, though, is that, because there's a lot of companies out there that do that nationwide, worldwide, really, because, that's a huge market. But what Palm Media does a really good job at is individualizing each client, understanding where they want to go, but more importantly, they understand the personality of each person.
Right.
And that is so important, because if you don't show somebody's true personality in a social media platform, it's fake. Everyone can see through it.
That's right. Absolutely.
And so, they knock it out of the park there.
Right.
I could go on for this entire podcast about that. So
yes, please do. Please do, guys.
Yeah.
Don't stop now, right?
Yeah. But again, we wouldn't be able to do this without the help of Palm Media and their expertise. So we appreciate you boys.
Yep, absolutely. And
check them out.
Hopefully you've got really good editing skills. That's we'll put that out there, because 5 minutes in, we already need it.
Absolutely. Well, if you don't know who we are yet, my name's Justin Helmus. I am the broker at the Bel Air and Indian Rocks Beach location, soon to be Clearwater Beach as well, for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Florida Properties Group. My co-host.
I'm Matt Vigh, the Clearwater, Countryside Clearwater and East Lake managing broker. We've both been with the company for quite a while, and we want to make sure that we get the word out about how we do what we do.
We both have some interesting backgrounds, and how we both got here in these chairs today is what's going to make these conversations dynamic. So I think that everyone's going to like that.
Agreed.
But enough about us.
That's right. Who's this guy right here?
Nobody
I know we said his name earlier, but why don't we talk about Dr. Ben Spears for just a second?
So Dr. Ben Spears, let me backtrack a little bit here. I remember the very first conversation I had with Dr. Ben Spears, and it was a phone call. So a young lady in my office was like, hey, you got to go get this agent. He's a rock star. I had already known who he was, you know, because he's a little bit famous.
Right.
Long story short, he did over 8 million in volume. Him and his team did over 8 million in volume their very first year.
That's right, which is a big deal.
And not only that, he did over 8 million in volume in his first year. He had 0 sphere of influence.
That's right.
He had just moved from Kentucky.
That's right.
Insane.
That's right.
And no real estate background.
Right.
So I get on the phone with this guy, and he starts busting my chops. And he's like, listen, I only have 15 minutes. I'll sit down with you. And I'm like starting to sweat. I'm usually pretty calm, cool, and collected under pressure. Do you remember that?
Absolutely, I do.
He was trying me hard. So out there, know that he's a tough negotiator right here. I just remember that phone call. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's kind of a dick. But we got him. We reeled him in, and what a huge asset.
Absolutely. Well, there were so many things in common. I mean, that's the key point there.
Yeah.
You know, how he looks at things as a whole fits very well with how we look at things from a company perspective.
Yeah.
And so he sat down and started talking to you guys. Right? I don't want to put words in your mouth. So, so hang on. Tell me about that first phone call. I'd love to hear it from a...
Yeah, and so, you know, it's one of those things, and most agents know, like, literally from the day that you become an agent, you get letters in the mail, you get calls from brokers, and it's like, blah, blah, blah. When you actually start showing, you know, signs of success and those kind of things, obviously those get a little bit more frequent. And so for us, it was like, gosh, okay, here's another broker giving us a call, like whatever. Right. And so you just don't have time, right? You know, if you're out there and you're selling and you're doing your thing, it's like, okay, I'll give you 15 minutes.
Right, 15 minutes was generous, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so
it boils down to it.
But the cool thing is I wouldn't have even had that conversation if from the get-go the agent that you were talking about had such high
praise.
High praise, exactly. So it's like, okay, well, I'll give a little bit extra time, but also there was just that connection, right?
Right.
And so it's just too many people that you talk to on a daily basis, whether it be business related or just outside in the world, where you're just like, you either just connect with that person or you don't.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
And for me as a realtor, I just want to say, you know what, if I'm going to be generating, capital, right? Generating closings, we'll say, and my broker or my company are going to be getting that, right? I gotta like those people, right? And so every broker that I've ever had that has fit that bill, right? And so, no exceptions here.
Good.
Well, Dr. Ben Spears has an interesting background in how he actually found his way to real estate, and I want to kind of chat with you quickly about that. But
sure.
Ben is from the glorious state of Kentucky. Yep. And I don't want to talk Wildcats because that just gets boring. And, we saw Zion Williamson's shoe just blow out the other night, and he was probably happy about it. So there's mixed reviews here at this table. But tell me about your doctor background. How did you become a chiropractor? Why did you go that route? Yeah. Tell me about that phase of your life.
Gotcha. And so, it's kind of an interesting story. I love taking care of people, right? There's just no hands down, that's like what I was put on the planet for. From a chiropractic standpoint, I loved the going in, someone coming like, gosh, I just need some help. Bam, I was able to help them. And we helped them that day. It's almost like a little bit of instant gratification there, right? But I didn't like the bureaucracy of healthcare, right? So that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Now, I got lucky in two ways, right? My wife, who's like amazingly brilliant, gorgeous and perfect in every way.
I've met her. She's all those things.
Yeah, he outpunted his coverage.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. She was offered a job down here. And we thought, okay, we're going to get a free vacation, right? They were just like, we'll wine and dine you, that kind of thing. So we came down, she just like loved it. Yeah. She's like, yeah, this is where I want to be. I had my practice, and this is how you kind of know things are meant to be, right? So I put my practice for sale in Kentucky, and literally within 2 hours, I had the buyer for it.
Wow.
Right? And that just like doesn't happen for a business.
Right? How many million you sell for?
Huh?
How many million?
Yeah, it was just like so many million.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it's one of those things where, that was like, okay, there's a sign, like this is maybe meant to be. So when we came down here, of course, you go to school for a bazillion years, you're going to want to say, okay, I'm going to use my degree. And I couldn't use it for 6 months.
Right.
So then I got into real estate by accident.
Right.
And
a lot of people do.
Yeah. And then like, it was literally I want to say 3-4 days, something like that. After I had my license, I was under contract pending with somebody. And I just got...
That happens all the time, right? Isn't that how it always does?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my goodness, real estate's so easy. Why in the world would anybody ever do anything else?
Right.
I learned the hard way that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
And here we are. I just fell in love with it.
So that's really, really unique because the way that
yeah.
I equate his story and how he got into real estate and really transitioned so easily is kind of like being against a natural athlete, right?
Yep.
They just pick things up and it just pisses you off.
Yeah, and so I mean, but he hit the nail on the head. It was meant to be. I mean, if it would have taken him 4 or 5 months, right, and it would have been a big struggle, then he wouldn't have got in it. We wouldn't have the benefits of Palm Media and what he's done and the people he's helped and all that. If it would have taken him that long, he would have said, look, maybe I really do need to focus on my degree and get to the point where I can open a practice here and all that kind of stuff. But it fell in place like everything else because it was supposed to happen. You were supposed to be sitting here, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind.
So another point that he brought up, which I find is super applicable to our daily lives as brokers and what we look for in agents, is there are certain industries and fields outside of real estate that really funnel to make a really good realtor.
Absolutely.
And you hit the nail on the head. You want people to come in and you want to take care of them.
That's right.
You are concerned about the person's well-being.
That's right.
That is why you fit into real estate so easy. It was just a natural transition because it's who he is.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So many times it's the process of getting things from contract to closing is where the expertise comes in. You know? So you've got to want to help. You got to want to have a relationship with that person.
We can teach you the rest.
That's right. The rest of it's just that's facilitating the process, right? Anybody can facilitate the process, but wanting to care and wanting the right thing and listening to the people along the way. You had a history of that before you got into this. You mentioned that. So that was a natural fit. So healthcare people usually do really well. Teachers really do well in
nurses.
real estate. That's right.
Yeah,
they do really well in that. Not that other people can't, but sometimes we see people getting into real estate that feel like they don't fit where they are because they want to be able to help and do certain things, and then they come into real estate and they're like, oh my God, where's this been my whole life? And then other times people are like, oh my God, I can't get out quick enough.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So I'm not special. I get it.
Is that what you took from that? Really? Wow.
Let's be clear. Let's put this on the record. That was meant to fluff him up for the rest of the podcast here.
Right,
so.
That's right. So it doesn't get any better than that, by the way, as far as the compliments go, right?
So let's really quickly. So I know a lot of the audience is going to be curious as to how you went from doctor in Kentucky to realtor in Florida to $8 million after your first year.
Right. Walk us through the steps.
Right. What are a few things that you attribute to that? I mean, that's not a normal path, let me tell you. That wasn't my path when I first started, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a few things, right? One is just hustle.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think we can all agree that probably the best thing that a new agent can do is an open house.
Right.
Right. And so I did 3 a week. My business partner, Jason, once we started teaming up in that first year, he was doing 3 weeks. So you got to consider, at a different house, we were doing 6 open houses a week. Right. Generating names, numbers, and those kind of things.
Oh, yeah. Let me pause you there. How'd you get those opportunities for those open houses?
Right. And so 2 ways, right? And so, my broker at the time was also a competing broker, and he consistently had 15, 16 listings, those kind of things. And because Jason and I, we're always like, yes, can we have open house? We have open houses. We kind of got, the pick of the litter at the beginning, and then the rest of the agents after that. Right. But we would take and we would, purchase 100 open house signs.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And we got this idea kind of, from a coaching training that we had taken. And we would put out 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 open house signs. I know I had a house one time because my GPS took me the wrong way that I accidentally signed from 4 miles away to the house, right? And I was like, man, where is this house?
That's insane.
There's so many turns. I kept going and going. Then I was like, oh my goodness, that could have been there in 2 minutes from my house.
Oh yeah.
But we got a lot of traffic. Right. But then on top of that, you do the normal things like you make sure the home's online, that kind of thing in the open house. So that was number one, right? Open houses were key.
Yeah. Right.
And from that point, it was like, okay, that's how we're generating names and numbers, right? Mm-hmm. We have no sphere, right? Jason's from Indiana, I'm from Kentucky. We're both first year agents, right? how do we grow our sphere? And there's no greater way on the planet than social media. Right? How many times can you just go to people and say, be my friend, be my friend, be my friend, right? And you know, you get some people who will and some people who won't. But then you start putting yourself out there, right? You know, I'm a little bit country, he's a little bit rock and roll, that kind of thing, right? And
this isn't a Chevy ad,
right? Yeah, and then you have, you know, people who are connected to you from the past,
right,
who will say, you know, tag you in a post. Does anybody know a good realtor in Clearwater?
Yeah.
Right? You know, I got a $1.5 million buyer from that.
Right.
Right. Only because we were always pushing that content out there and just saying, hey, we're realtors, we take care of people. And that's the truth too, right? So we get referrals because we got.
Well, I think an important point you hit on two really important things there. You said that you continued putting real estate stuff out there, but you also talked about caring about people. That's what, you know. So one of the things that a lot of agents run into is what content do they put on social media? Yeah. Can you touch on that just a little bit? Because I mean, it's not just about, hey, I'm at an open house today, right?
Right. Yeah. So we now teach obviously a class at BHU, and one of the things that I said at the last class is everyone. Let's say, what would a realtor do, right? When you're talking about content, what would a realtor do? And then I said, and then do the complete opposite.
That's perfect.
That's true.
That's perfect, man.
Right? Because everything is give me. Right? It's like looking to buy or sell a house, looking to buy or sell a house, looking to buy or sell a house. It's okay to say new listing, right? Yeah. New listing. Right. Yeah, you're marketing. You can get numbers and you can show that to the seller.
Right.
But the same thing, like an example that I give, is if you want to go Facebook Live, for example, and you're at an open house, you can either hold that and walk through and say, here's a kitchen. You've never seen a kitchen before. Here's a bathroom. You've never seen right. Everybody knows what a bathroom and a kitchen looks like. Right. But you can accomplish that exact same goal and put a little personality in it if you grab a spatula and say, oh my goodness, look at this kitchen. Can you imagine flipping pancakes? Right?
Absolutely.
And so, but you're just putting that spin. You're letting people get to know you. And it's one of those things where if it's like, man, I don't really want to work with a realtor who's kind of like, you know, funny and silly. Yeah,
that's fine.
Right. That's
not your brand.
That's right. Move on. There's somebody.
I don't want that person anyway.
So you were more interested in showing who you were and showing the consumer or the potential consumer what your personality was before the sales pitch.
100%. They have to, you get 100 postcards in the mail.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't pay attention to them until I was a realtor. Right. But now I look at them because I'm a marketer. Right. I'm like, okay, there's nothing that distinguishes.
That's right.
One
Completely
postcard may have an old guy on it.
Right.
And I'm say, okay, well, that guy, maybe he has a lot of experience. He may be a realtor a week.
Right.
You know, one person may have like, a young lady in a suit.
Right.
And I say, wow, she looks like a hustler.
Yeah.
She might sleep till 4.
Right.
Right. I don't know.
AM or PM?
Yeah, exactly. PM. She may sleep all day. I don't know. Through social media, I can say I'm a hustler. I'm funny. I'm whatever.
Right. That's a good point you brought up right there that I like, because a lot of what realtors are taught, and this goes back to some different models,
right,
is that you're supposed to just shove real estate down people's throats.
Yep.
Every conversation, doesn't matter who you talk to. Do you know someone that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I remember when I first started in school, please don't do that. That's
terrible.
It's
the worst.
It's awful.
It is.
I mean, we want to avoid that used car salesman thing. And Ben is actually the perfect person and perfect guest to talk about that.
Absolutely. So whenever someone shows up to the front door, when you finally get that listing appointment or whatever, you're sitting down with the person talking to them, you want to make sure that who you said you were in social media is actually who showed up at the front door.
Yep.
Some people are so concerned in their brand and pushing something out there, and then whenever they sit down with the people are like,
whoa.
Yeah, that's right. Who is this?
What I thought I was getting.
That's exactly right.
And that's the beauty of what he does.
That's exactly right.
Right? I mean,
hit the nail on the head.
When he goes in for listing appointments or buyer appointments, the customers already know who he is. There's no feeling out period.
That's right.
He's already broken the barrier down. It's okay, well, how are we going to sign these docs?
Right. Are you going to be my guide? I already trust you. Are you going to be my guide through all this? And what are the steps that we're going to take instead of me trying to sell them on, hey, I'm the right person for the job? That part's already done.
Yeah, and one of the things that we even coach our clients through as well. So consider this. Let's use a listing appointment as an example. And so let's say, someone gives me a listing appointment based on seeing my videos.
Right.
They know what they're going to get. Right. As soon as they call me and they say, hey, or send me a Facebook message, whatever, would you come take a look at my house? I'm going to send them a friend request immediately on Facebook. Right. And the reason I do that is two things. Yeah, I want to be their friend, but also I want to know what they like.
Right.
And so let's say that I get off the phone with them, send them a friend request. They say, yeah, we can be friends. And I go there, and their entire page is full of like, I don't know, Hello Kitty stuff. Right? I don't know. Right.
Well, I would steer clear of that.
Well, guess what I'm bringing to the listing?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'm sure as heck bringing a coffee mug that has Hello Kitty on it or something.
Or a folder that you're going to leave your papers in. That's what.
Exactly. And so it's just anything that you can use, because Facebook's an amazing tool to kind of, dig in there, get to know people, more so than what people would imagine.
Yeah, you're hitting on a great point there. And I've heard you talk about this with a bunch of the agents, and in some of that one-on-one stuff. Whenever I'm coaching with them afterwards, they discuss this. Being genuine to who you are is important, but also listening to what's going on with the customer.
Yeah.
And so Facebook allows you, some of the stuff that you teach them to do, it allows you to go in and actually determine a little bit about the person, so that whenever you show up, what the connection could be between you.
Yep.
So you're using that as an opportunity to make sure you're growing a solid relationship, so that they trust you and they let you in on the beginning of what's going on. They actually let you listen to what's happening, so you can truly help. I think that goes back to the healthcare provider part, and you enjoying what you did in that. I think part of that it certainly goes back to that. That's good. That's good stuff.
And that's not rocket science. That's the hard work, and that's the behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people do not want to do.
They're not willing to do.
And that is a dividing factor, and it's like Ben didn't have a leg up on anybody. He didn't have a network that he just fell right into.
That's another compliment, by the way.
Right. So, I mean, I find that to be such an amazing little piece for every realtor out there is to understand that, just because you secure an appointment, it's like, okay, well, you don't just get your listing docs together and just run comps and figure it out.
Right.
I mean, there's some back end work there that can really pay off in the front, and I love that. I love that bit.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
So you hear people say all the time, it's a numbers game, right? And so it's and the reality is it's a relationship game.
Yep, 100%.
And so Facebook allows you to develop and look at some of that relationship with them if you're doing it the right way, which is part of what you did. And I know we've kind of gotten away from step by step. So we were talking about open houses, right?
Yeah.
So you did the open houses. You started truly connecting with people, using Facebook to connect with people. Take us through. That's a long way from $8 million, right?
Yeah.
Get us to $8 million.
It is. Excuse me. That $1.5 million, definitely helped in that first year to get to that, right?
That's a big step towards it, I think.
And then my business partner again, Jason, he had a portion of that $8 million as well.
Right. Yeah, he's sharp guy.
Yeah, and so it's again, right? It's just Jason. It's just
he's like the behind the scenes guy. He's the guy that Joe Rogan yells at. Can you put that up on the screen? We're going to get Jason on here soon.
Yeah, and so I would say, much to my chagrin, right, because this isn't even necessarily my strong suit, would be the systems.
Yeah.
Right? And the follow-up and just, and having that accountability factor, whether it be your broker, whether it be a business partner, those kind of things.
Got to have it.
Yeah, because we can generate, tremendous amounts of leads on Facebook, right? You can have 5, 10, 15 conversations a day.
Yeah.
Through what we've done. But if you're not doing anything with it.
Right. Or doing the wrong thing with it.
Or doing, exactly. Or you're just, spinning your wheels.
That's right.
Then nothing's ever going to come from it. And so, Jason, just like amazing, like literally probably the best I know at creating a system around anything.
Right.
And so, and he's really good at saying, Ben, do this. Here's a checklist. Get this finished, right? And then lastly would be we did purchase some leads, right?
Yeah.
And so we purchased some leads on Realtor.com,
right?
And national average on those is something like 0.5%,
right?
Right. And so
it's a padded average.
Yeah, 1 out of every 200, something like that.
What was your average, Ben?
My average was 10%.
Yeah,
right?
That's incredible.
And so
I'm no mathematician, but
that's kick ass.
Yeah.
But the key was nothing that anybody. There was nothing special.
Right.
Right.
Well,
let me start by saying, when a lead came in, right, I knew what I was going to say. Like, it's kind of a script that I came up with, which I'll share with anybody, but it was a matter of 3 seconds before I was calling the lead. That was the key. Right. And then, you know, some people give it to my Southern charm. You know, Jason always gives it to my Southern charm. You know, just kind of kicks in and I say, hey, let's be friends as fast as we can over that phone call. Then that's the goal.
Let me be clear on this to everyone listening and watching, is that there's no magic potion here with Ben. There is no sort of sorcery. To my knowledge, Ben is a pretty normal guy, and I say normal guy. Of course, he's extremely smart, and so is Jason. But this isn't something that you know, everyone can do this, but you gotta want it, right?
You gotta want it. Gotta have a system for it.
So I kind of want to dig into that a little bit, because I know, you know, we've talked about all of that lead gen going up, and then all your systems and tools to follow up, and how you promote that. But you know, I want to talk about your mindset for a second, because to me,
everything starts with it. Absolutely.
You know, there's a reason why your head gets off the pillow. I mean, talk me through about, you know, why you do what you do every day.
Yeah. So I am just like the most competitive person that you maybe have ever met in your entire life.
Fact. He is.
And so, you know, I tried at the beginning to get Jason to be competitive.
Right. If he's not, he's not.
Yeah. If you're not, you're not. Right. So everybody has their strengths, right? And that's how we puff each other. But I mean, you gotta think. I'm printing off, if not on a daily basis, but definitely on a weekly basis, everybody in the office, and I want to know exactly where I stand. But I do it for two reasons, right? Number one says, okay, well, I need to base my numbers. How can I get to the top?
Right.
But number two, anybody that's above me,
what are they doing?
I'm contacting them at least once a week.
Good luck.
And
that's right.
And I'm saying, you're killing it, and I'm so proud of you.
Right.
Right, and that does two things.
That's sweet.
It does.
It promotes, you know, good culture in the office, but it also lets them know I'm coming.
Yeah.
Right. Then I'm taking a look at it. Right?
I've seen those phone calls firsthand.
Yeah.
And that's real. But they're coming from here.
Of course.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's not a malicious thing, but that's his. You know,
it's putting him on display of what he is and who he is and how he does things, and
it's like if I want to do something, I want to be the best.
That's right.
Right? I see so much to that, because I'm just as competitive as Ben, and I love that. We definitely thrive off of each other in that regard.
I'm not competitive whatsoever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm easy going. I'm easy like a Sunday morning, you know?
Exactly. Right. So you touched on culture. Matt, what do we want to know about culture here? I want to know what he thinks about us and what culture means to him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So let's get to the bottom of that. So you came over, and whenever you came over, you know, you had a little bit of a notion of who we were, right? Because I'm sure before you decided to sit down and talk with Justin the first time, you looked at us as a company, right?
Of course.
And you know, dug into that a little bit and everything, and then you started showing up and you started meeting Justin and some other people, and you know, training directors and owners of the company and all that kind of stuff. Who do you think we are? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, exactly. And so
honest truth. Like, I want people to know that this is raw.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here's what I can tell you, right? I don't necessarily care about brands, right? I came from a small brokerage, right? Berkshire Hathaway. It's a great brand,
kind of big brand,
but it has nothing to do with why I'm here. Right, the people.
That's the first time I've ever heard that, by the way.
the people have everything to do with why I'm here.
Agreed.
Right, and so, but just like I said, you know, you get calls from brokers all the time. Hey, come here. But just coming in, sitting down, like especially this guy, and you know, if you listen to audio, I'm talking about Justin. When we first met, it's just like, gosh, I just kind of click with that person, right? Mm-hmm. And then when we first met, like in person, like, and Matt was in the room, and all three of us were there. It was like, gosh, you know, these guys just get it. Like, it was supportive,
right?
We were thinking outside the box. We weren't thinking postcards. We weren't thinking all these different things. We were talking about like, hey, can we take this conference room, you know, that you guys use and turn it into a studio? And it was like, yeah, absolutely.
We'll help you succeed. Let's do it.
You help me succeed.
What are we waiting on?
but then, okay, now we're, you know, 6 months, 7 months down the road, whatever, maybe longer than that, maybe almost a year down the road, and now we have this business where we help other agents, right? And this is key. This is one of the things I want to let everybody know, especially about Florida Properties Group, is part of what we do is helping new agents, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the things that we post have to do with listings.
Right.
A lot of new agents, well, guess what they don't have?
Right.
Listings.
Right.
And so whenever I say, you know what, we're in a good company, has a good culture, and I know that there's going to be agents out there who are going to say, you know what, you can use my listing for your Facebook ad.
Absolutely.
And generate buyer leads.
That's right.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe one time.
Helps the seller, helps everybody. Everybody wins on that. Yeah. More exposure, right?
Exactly. And maybe one time out of 100 have we gotten any pushback. Everybody's just like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? And I can name names of people who are not clients of ours who have given us listings that I have never met.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right? And that to me is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right? Because you go, even though it can be competitive, you can be competitive with your friends. Right?
That's right.
You know, Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan, you know, they're friends.
Right.
Right? But on the basketball court, they're not.
Right. No.
Right?
No.
And
nor
so,
were they ever.
Right. Right. And so it's just one of those things where that's what I get here.
Right.
Right. Just that overwhelming sense of.
Well, and that's something that Matt and I work hard on a daily basis. It's something that I go to bed sleeping and thinking about, and then I wake up in the morning thinking about that, because without culture, we don't have a foundation.
Anything. There's nothing.
We have opportunities where agents or teams want to come into our office. Let's say they're 20, 30, $40 million producers. Matt and I have personally not had them come to the office because that would have disrupted the culture that we have.
Yeah.
When I sit down and I'm meeting with whoever it is that I'm meeting with, I tell them I'm responsible to the other people in the office to make sure that you're a good fit with what we're all trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
They have to be a good fit. If they're not, I can't have somebody come in and destroy it for the sake of production. It is.
Yeah.
It's a toxin.
Yeah.
And it's simply not worth it.
It's a short-term model.
It is. And the key thing on that for me is, I think that if they come into an office and they're toxic, then they're toxic with their customers. I don't want any part of that.
And their personal life.
That's exactly right. And so, you know, we want people that are a good fit. You know, we want people that like what we're doing. If they don't like what they're doing, man, there's tons of other opportunities. Go get them, Tiger.
And we're all just as happy.
That's right. Everybody wins.
Right.
And the customer gets what they're supposed to get.
Yeah. That big teamwork atmosphere inside of our offices is not a fluke.
Right.
And you know, you and Jason are a huge part of that culture, because you know, you're obviously not only in my offices, but you're in Matt's and every other office of 22 offices that we have in the area. So it's a testament to you as a person, but you're just a microcosm of what we have going on.
You're a fit of who we are. I look up through the door all the time, and you know, we're sitting in there talking to somebody, and you're walking by waving and everything. I think that's fantastic, because I know whenever that's happening, that you and Jason are helping somebody look at their business in a way that's going to benefit them and the customer really well. I love that. Wave at you, you're talking to Sam, whatever's going on. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. That's good stuff.
And he brought up a good point in saying that, you know, when he came in and interviewed with us, it wasn't like we tried to shove our directive down his throat.
Yeah.
So Matt and I, again, work hard on making sure that we look at the individual agent, look at what their needs and wants are, and build their business plan accordingly. Everyone's different.
Yeah,
Why would we put everybody in a puzzle?
And some people love postcards, and they make it work because of what they do and how they do it. And some people so we just want more than one path for them. And the owners of the company push, you know, Dewey and Allen all the time are telling us to do whatever we need to do to make the people as successful as they possibly can be. At the end of every meeting that we have, one of the two of them talks about culture and how important it is for them to make sure that we understand that we're all on the same page of what we're trying to help the agent accomplish with the customer. I guarantee you that's not happening in other management meetings. I guarantee that's not happening in other meetings in other companies, because I've worked other places. That's just not how they look at it.
Right. Yeah.
And they won't leave without it.
And think about an office that if we had 80 Bens.
Oh yeah.
That would be just, you know, that would be a square office.
Right.
What I like about our offices is that if you looked at all of our agents, they are all damn good at something totally different.
Absolutely. And want to share it.
When they all get together, that teamwork culture bit, ooh boy, watch out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, and opposing views are so good.
They are.
Right? It's just like you can easily stay on your path of least resistance.
Right. Yeah. And make that little modification by something that you heard with somebody that makes all the difference, because you were opened up to listen to it, because you're around people that you see that are succeeding at a high level. You're looking at the numbers. Not all of my agents do it, but sometimes they come in and they're like, hey, so and so has done this, did something else. They had a great month last month. Go talk to them. What are you talking to me about it for? Go in there and talk to them. They're going to tell you.
Yeah,
they're not going to hold it back and say, oh no, you can't do this. You said something a minute ago that you keep hitting the nail on the head with so many things. We appreciate that.
Thank
you. Said you'd share your, not you, Justin.
Oh. Sorry.
You said you'd share your script with what you tell, and you said that so much in passing, but that is just not how everybody looks at it. Yeah. And we love it that you're part of this because of that's how you look at it. I'll share my script. I'll help anybody however I can. And you said that so nonchalantly and in passing. That's fantastic. We love it that that's built into you that way.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that is just, I say I'm super competitive, but ultimately I just like being part of the win. Right, and that's what this whole palm thing is about, right?
Quote that right there. That's a great quote. I like being part of the win. So that's a selfless quote. That is 100% a selfless quote.
Yeah, if somebody else gets a closing off of something that Jason and I have taught them, oh my goodness, I get probably more excited about that than I do my own closing.
That's huge.
You're talking about our rules here.
That's
too.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I mean,
there's so many managers that we have that we deal with. That's exactly how they look at it. They want all of us. They want to share an idea that's working. And we get emails all the time from one of them that says, "Hey, I just did this with so and so. I just got out of a coaching session, and this is what I talked about." And so they're bouncing back and forth. And some of it might be things that we're already working on. Some of it might be brand spanking new. Some of it might be something we've never heard of.
Yeah,
I just love the fact that email is bouncing around.
Yeah. Shout out to the other market presidents.
That's exactly right. That's good stuff all the way. And so we love it that you're doing the same thing. Jason's doing the same thing. Our staff is doing the same thing. The managers are doing the same thing. So whenever it comes to culture, it's not, hey, we think this is how you should act. Go act that way.
Yeah.
It's hey, this is who we are. We'd love for you to be part of it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I gotta kind of change the pace on this for a quick second, just because
here we go.
Yeah, I want to throw a little wrench into this situation. I want to know, over your couple years in real estate, what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you while either showing property or at a listing appointment? I want to, I have a weird story. I'm sure that you have a weird story.
Gotcha.
Put you on the spot.
The one that comes to mind, right? Because I just try and get along with everybody. Right. That's like, I'm an amiable personality. It's just like I like people to like me, and then I like people. But I remember going to this one showing, and we get there, and it's my standard protocol to knock on the door and wait like at least a minute, right? Especially if there's a car in the driveway, to make sure nobody's in there.
Right.
Oh, gosh,
right.
Yeah.
And so I have my buyers with me who are now my next door neighbors. They bought the house next to me.
Awesome.
Right? So the plot thickens.
And I love them to death. But we go there. And nothing. I'm listening, nothing. All the lights are off. So I open up the lockbox. We go in. We're in the living room. We're in the kitchen. Still nothing. And every time I open the door, I'm like, hello, like as loud as I can, 3 or 4 times.
Oh, God. Right?
So we're in the kitchen. Then all of a sudden, this lady comes out, and she's holding a baby. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Right? And I go back outside. Right? Then a car comes screaming around the corner. Right? I'll tell you what happened, why all this happened. Just a second. Car comes screaming around the corner. Guy gets out and he's like, why are you in the house? Why are you in the house with my sister or something like that? Right?
Gosh. Here we go.
Then another car comes.
This is this could be like a story in Florida.
Plot's thickening because another car showed up.
Then another car comes, and it's like the lady's mom, and she says, I forgot to tell them there was a showing and something like that, right?
Meanwhile, you are sweating bullets.
Right, yeah,
you thought you'd get your ass kicked.
Bullets.
Right.
But all this, the plot does think, all of this is staged, right? And I'll tell you why. So then this lady, she says, oh, well, we're renting right now, right? We're renting right now. And let me tell you about the house. She's like, I'll take you for a personal tour. She proceeds to walk us around the house saying, see that right there? That's definitely a sinkhole. Oh, this roof completely needs to be replaced.
This is creepy.
Right?
Oh, wow.
And so she just proceeds to tell us everything that she can possibly think of negative about the house. Right? And so when we left, I told my buyers, we went to a gas station or something. I told them, I was like, listen, what are the chances that she didn't, I knock hard.
Right.
She didn't come to the door. I said hello 4 or 5 times. She never said anything. Then she just comes out, and then just magically,
people show up.
Like all these cars start showing up.
Right.
Text went out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
The bat signal.
Hey, I want to stay in this house.
Yeah,
I want to stay in this house.
So I was like, we didn't go inside. We were like, no, we don't want to see the inside. And that
So it was just a giant setup for the tenant to stay, so they don't sell the house.
It was just a giant setup.
Wow.
For that tenant to stay.
Wow.
And I told the listing agent, and she's like, that's happened several times.
That brings up an interesting point that we just had a roundtable discussion at my office where we talked for 20 minutes on realtor safety, and we can do this in another podcast, but my God, is it important to fully understand, and men be like, oh, realtor safety, that's only for women or whatever.
No,
nobody. There are many situations,
Absolutely.
it is 2019, there are many situations that you can unknowingly put yourself in and cause real harm without doing anything wrong.
Absolutely.
So be careful. We'll talk about that later. Inquire within, but that's scary.
I've got an incredible story that ended up in the evening news with one of my agents. She was absolutely fantastic about the whole situation, but you're going to have to tune back in to hear that.
Okay, good. I like that.
One of a kind, I promise. Absolutely. She's incredible.
That's clickbait.
That's right. That's exactly
We'll get her on.
That's right.
All right, so when the day is done or it's the weekend and you're not doing an open house, when you take your realtor hat off, what do you do? What do you do in your downtime?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was saying, like, as full-time realtor, like, you just can't ever take your realtor hat off.
That's a tough hat to take off.
Right? You just can't. But, for fun, those kind of things, I got 2 little boys, a 7 and a 5-year-old,
Adorable.
And a beautiful wife. And they're like, literally, they're my entire life. And and they all love to play golf.
Oh,
and
wow.
So,
Whatever.
we will literally, all 4 of us, load up and go play golf.
Oh, that's
and
incredible.
that kind of thing. So
His son's a stick, by the way. I've seen the shots on Facebook and Instagram that he posts. He's already won his first tournament, and he's only been playing for a couple months.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just killing it.
Hey, some people just get it.
Yeah.
He tied me the other day, which is pretty crazy. But
so if Ben or myself cannot be reached, we are probably on the golf course.
Yeah, more
good chance.
More than likely.
Good chance.
But yeah, that's how.
If you can't be reached, because most of the time, we're just by our phone, right?
Yeah, my phone's always with me. Yeah. But
I could talk to you for like probably another hour about golf if you want.
Yeah, that's another podcast. That's another podcast.
Yeah. We'll talk golf another time.
But yeah, that's it. Just your typical family stuff. We hang out at the pool. We go play golf. We learn how to read. Right? Those kind of right. Just like anything else.
Yeah.
All right, rapid fire. 3 things that you're grateful for.
Gosh, my family, my business partner, and just waking up healthy every day.
Yeah, that's sweet.
It is.
It's awesome.
Real stuff to be grateful for.
Yeah, that's the true stuff. That's why we do what we do every day.
Absolutely. Real estate allows us to do what we love.
Yeah. Any more brain busters for this guy?
No, he's been fantastic, but I can tell that we've only scraped the surface on so many things. So we're going to have you back. You're going to have to come back in.
I would love it, guys,
and do this. And we're going to get Jason up here too, so that everybody can see that. And so what we'll do is one of us will sit out, right, and walk around and do the other things. We'll screw it up, right?
Yeah,
musical chairs.
And then Jason's going to just, no, you're messing this up. Do this.
We'll wear many hats.
Yeah, we were all bumping into each other before he got here, setting everything up for us.
I know.
We didn't know what
Thank
to do.
God. All we're doing is sitting down in front of the camera, and that's really all we're doing.
That's right.
We're just good at blabbing.
That's right.
When Matt and I get on the phone together, it's like the same with you.
Yeah, TMI anyway.
All right, quick recap. So you brought up some really, really cool points. I want to, point out for all the realtors that are listening out there, and really entrepreneurs in general, because this is applicable to...
Yeah, this isn't just real estate.
Way more than real estate.
Absolutely. This is not just real estate.
All right. Number 1, hustle. You cannot recreate it. You can't teach it. You got to have it.
That's right.
This guy has it.
Absolutely.
2,
Absolutely. In spades.
In spades, for sure. I could talk way more about that, but open houses is vitally important to agents out there in general. I don't care at what life cycle your business is.
Yeah, that's right.
You should do it.
Absolutely.
That doesn't apply to the entrepreneurs and stuff outside of real estate, which just defeated the intro to this, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but there's things that they can do that are in that same
supplement
vein.
That.
Absolutely. There's things that they can do that are similar to that to get in front of the public. Because I think the important thing about an open house, especially when you're getting started, is you start having those conversations with real live people.
Yep.
You're in a situation where you need to start talking to them about a house and what a soffit is and pre-qualification and all those things. It kind of forces you into the water, but at the same time, it's not deep water. You know, you're only in knee deep whenever it comes to an open house, because everybody knows it starts and it ends, right?
That's what I always tell agents: dive in head first and then learn how to swim.
Right.
That's just the best way to do it. But agents out there, look for a brokerage, look for a culture that is willing to share open houses and listings, because that is so important.
Yeah, critical.
I can't even stress that enough, because that you do learn.
And it seems like a simple thing.
Yeah,
but it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
And that'll fast forward your career. I assure you that.
Yeah.
If you considered a bunch of open houses every week, that's going to fast forward your career. Third point that I took away from you: social media. I mean, that's a huge aspect of his game.
Right. If you're not sure what you're doing, there's people out there that can help. Palm Media, of course, would love to help out with it, but get some help if you don't know what's happening, because it's not just about posting, hey, I'm at an open house today. Correct. You got to have that spatula back there, right?
Yeah, and we always and I've always said, right, it's free to talk to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And so there's so many different free strategies out there that we can give people.
Yeah.
And, if I charge people just to talk to me, then my mom would owe me a lot of money.
Right. Yeah. So we can put your information in down below on this, right? And
for sure.
So that way somebody can click through to it and get whatever information they need, right?
100%.
We have some really good, free tidbit Facebook stuff that we'll share either in another podcast or at another time.
Nice.
Good.
Ben is really, really good. I'd say Ben and Jason are really, really good at establishing the trust and the personal relationship first and foremost before anything else.
Right, putting your sincerity on display.
So trust first, then sell.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is usually
you have to mean it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. That's speaking.
Got to be sincere.
Yep.
Systems and tools. We already heard Jason. Jason handles that for you, but that's the dirty part of the business that a lot of agents either don't want to do, don't like to do, so they just say,
don't know where to start.
Right.
So many times they don't know where to start. They're busy dealing with the listing, and they're busy dealing with the paperwork, and they're busy dealing with all of these things, and they'll take a class on what that first step is, and they'll spend the money on what the first step is, and then they don't have somebody to guide them, because that's not how people are looking at it from a help you standpoint. They're looking at it from a sell you standpoint. So one of the cool things that Palm Media does, it's the help you standpoint first, and then there's other products that are available if it's the right direction for you to go. That's huge, because that's not typical in real estate.
Right.
Usually people are selling first whenever it comes to the vendors that are offering things. Sell first, get them to sign up, get them to sign on the dotted line instead of helping out. That's
yeah.
huge.
We always just want to say we want to pay for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I can tell you that advice is
oh yeah,
worth its weight there. I mean, I've spent my money as in my past job as realtor for a couple of years now. I've spent some money in some crazy places, and I have wasted so much money. I can't even tell you. So it's nice to have a trusted partner
trusted
next
advisor,
to us.
That's right.
Yeah. But that's it. I mean, it's interesting that we're able to sit here with Ben and discuss such a broad scope of starting your own business. But when it all comes down to it, right, it's all about who he is as a person.
Right. And putting it on display.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's everything. His work ethic, his personality, his perseverance, it really shows true. And you, being the way that you are, make the industry better as a whole, and we appreciate you doing that.
Because the customer deserves it. I mean, the bottom line is
100%.
The customer deserves dealing with people that want them want the agent to be great at what they do, but to put their needs first, instead of it being about the agent first, which we know we run into. There's a little bit of that in the marketplace, right, where the agent puts themselves first. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're putting you out there as much as we can, and other agents out there as much as they can, because it helps the public get what they're supposed to get.
And there's so much of a bad rap nowadays on what a realtor is, and if we can, duplicate this type of character out there, it would forever change real estate as a whole.
They'd be looked at the way we want them to be looked at.
We thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sincerely.
Yeah, you and Jason both. Y'all are absolutely
class acts.
Absolutely, that's
class
right.
acts.
Absolutely awesome.
And there's a reason why that's the business. There's a lot of snakes out there, and we steer clear of them. And I'm just proud to be shoulder to shoulder with you.
We're grateful that you're part of the team.
Same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Yep, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben.
First episode, dang.
I know, right? What up?
Yeah. Well, look back for more. Again, thank you to Palm Media so much for putting this thing on.
Absolutely. I don't even know what this would look like if they wouldn't have put this on. This would be you and I
in my garage, maybe.
That's right.
It'd be kind of weird.
We couldn't even get this thing hung.
We'd be sweaty.
Yeah. I mean, somebody else had to hang that for us. We couldn't even get that done. So I can't even imagine what this would look like without Palm Media.
All right. Thanks again, Ben. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Dr. Ben Spears, Spear Circle. Thank you very much.
Peace. That was fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
A ton of fun.